Hello and welcome to the Inbetween Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Scorn, and I'm joined by Tony Tones LT. How are you, Tony?
Hello. It's a whole new year.
It's been a lot. We haven't done a podcast since last year. I just have to get that joke in quickly because it's never not funny to me.
It has been nearly 4 weeks though.
Yeah, so context, Christmas obviously, but then also I went away to Sweden.
Yeah.
So I was in a different country for a bit. I went there, went to the go burn down a goat. They were already taking it down, so I couldn't burn down the goat.
Oh, damn.
You know what I'm talking about? Look up Yavla Goat, the Tom Scott video.
Yeah.
I saw the small goat that the school built.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not that small, to be honest with you. One of my friends got COVID while I was out there, so we had to isolate. Everyone started getting sick, and I had to go have emergency dental treatment while I was on holiday. So it wasn't like a great holiday. But that aside, I did do some Swedish stuff, so that was pretty fun. I did get very sick afterwards, though, when I came back from the airport. Not COVID, though, which is
just the flu, I suppose.
The flu or the cold or something. Because we were testing like every day. Because one of our friends tested positive for COVID. And, by the way, COVID tests are really fucking expensive in Sweden. They're like £4.50 a pop.
Okay, that's a lot.
I think one of my friends spent over like £50 on COVID tests alone. I was just like, crazy. Jesus Christ, I remember when they were free.
Yeah, there's a problem, pandemic though.
I'm having a midlife crisis apparently because I decided that I was going to buy a Steam Deck and then immediately buy a 4080 because there was a Founders Edition available. So I've got like a Steam Deck coming tomorrow. I've got a 4080 here. I haven't plugged in yet because I'm waiting on a new power supply to come because I decided I was get one of the new ATX ones so I wouldn't have to use the adapter to plug it in. Go full cam here. There's a new NVIDIA broadcast beta. I want to show this off as well because this is interesting. That you can use with your RTX graphics card. So it does this thing. It's in Greek for some reason. Somebody else reported this bug that the feature's in Greek for some reason, but it's meant to make it look like I'm always looking directly at you to increase like the feeling between the viewer and the person, like I'm having a conversation with you, so I'm looking at you, because I have 3 screens, so I'm constantly reading something from over here, reading something from over here, and yeah, let me just show this to you. Hello, I'm looking at you right now, but it gets really weird, like, I'm looking at my monitor over there right now, but to you, I am looking right at you. You'll see the effect more when I blink, because my eyes will move very quickly to where they actually are, and you're no longer seeing the fake eyes that NVIDIA's putting on top of my real eyes.
It looks... I feel like I've seen your real eyes a lot, and it doesn't... I don't know. Something's wrong. Don't like it.
I can break the effect by putting a hand over one of my eyes, I discovered. It gets confused. Hang on, I think it gets confused, and it.
Oh my god!
It puts a fake eye over your hand because it thinks it's still your face. So this is what it's doing, guys. It's putting like a fake eye over your real eye to make it always look like I'm looking at you, despite the fact this feature needs work. It's not perfect, but I think the sentiment is there. That it's it's a good idea.
Can I just point out the difficulty with this, though? I'm pretty sure humans looking at eyes is like the most adept you are at seeing things. Like the most minute thing. Should I
just leave it? Should I just leave it on for the entire podcast and just see what it looks like?
I hate it.
When I watch back the VODs of the podcast, it does annoy me when it feels like a lot of the time I'm looking in a different direction and it looks kind of strange.
I guess, but at least it's real. I don't know. I get,
because I'm really in space right now.
I don't know.
I think they need to fix the blinking problem. I think the blinking problem is one of the biggest problems because Every time I'm blinking, it's going like switching back and forwards. I'll turn it off now. So this is what my eyes really like. Like you can see here, I am looking at my other monitor right now, and then I'll turn it on. I'm looking at
but
you.
I get it's annoying.
Like
Obviously, like
I'm not.
news presenters, like they'd be like looking at the screen, right? But
yeah, well, because normally you would have a teleprompter in front of you.
I feel like it's not a massive problem personally. Like I feel like it's they're reading the screen. Okay, like I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was really interesting. So I thought I'd talk about it for a bit. But yeah, let's just go over everything that's happened. To be honest with you, we haven't done a podcast for like a month, and there was like not really that much news.
Well, I think we shut down for 2 weeks, at least.
Yeah, so I think the big news is going to be me complaining about the Steam Awards, and also being quite interested in the Steam replays. I think the Steam replay, like the year in review, is a really interesting system.
Yeah.
Tony, I don't know if you saw this. I posted it on Discord. Apparently, Nectar cards from Sainsbury's do a year in review. I got to talk about this on the Meme Awards now that I remember it. Apparently, there's a thing where it tells you if you were the number one buyer of a specific object in a certain area. Some guy was posting on Twitter, he was like, this is so fucking depressing, and he posted a photo that said that he was the number one buyer of paprika in, like, England or something. He was like, I don't even buy that much paprika, why am I the number one buyer? But it's people just started posting their, like, Nectar cards years and reviews, and they were like, you are the number one buyer of fucking, I don't know, Heinz beans in Doncaster or something, and it's just like, this is so funny to me. I love the I always do like the Spotify year in review. I think it's really, really cool to see what sort of music I was listening to that year. I think the Steam one that they did this year is really cool. I think it's a really useful tool, so it's going to be interesting. And I think mine and your Steam replays are going to be slightly different in terms of how many games we've been playing.
Only slightly.
Yeah. But yeah, I've got a 4080. I'm getting a Steam Deck. I went for the 512 one, and I also ordered a terabyte SSD to store extra games on. I'm very excited for the Steam Deck because I literally wasn't in my house for like over 2 weeks, and I was so fucking bored a lot of the time without my computer. So, as I've been traveling a lot more recently, I think the Steam Deck is going to be very, very interesting to use. I'm very excited. Is there anything you want to talk about before we get in? Did you get any interesting Christmas presents, Tony?
I mean, I got Lego.
I got a
Culkin's house in Lego form.
Yeah, do you have any photos?
Not any decent ones, I realised. I wish
I got a water flosser and I love it. I wanted to unpack all my stuff and pack the water flosser in my carry-on, but I had no space. I'm a big fan of water flossers. I don't know if you've heard of them.
Well, they're like, I guess work water. Like it's like pressurized water instead of like using like an actual like physical floss, right?
Instead of using string, you just shoot water in between your teeth to dislodge the debris.
Right. Okay.
I really like. It's so easy to use. And it's just very, very handy. I'm a big fan of it. So let's talk about some news. We have Knockout City x Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So another Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles collab. I feel like they've been doing a lot recently. We've been seeing them in stuff like Smite, and they've been in like kart racing. It seems like Nickelodeon is very liberal with their IPs. They'll just be like, yeah, you can put this in here. I'm excited to see the new killer Splinter in Dead by Daylight when that comes out. It's Splinter, right? The ninja guy. I'm remembering my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles lore. The guy with like the gauntlets and the helmet.
Shredder.
Or is that Shredder? Splinter's the rat. Yeah, I meant to say Shredder. There we go.
Yeah, I was trying to remember. I feel like something was wrong. I couldn't.
Knockout City is like one of my favorite games from last year for a week, and then it was like, oh, okay, I'm done with this now. And I have another game from 2022 that I'll talk about. So, We are not talking about our games of the year this podcast because it'll be way too long.
Yeah.
So there will be. I think what's going to happen is there will be a separate video that will probably be live streamed, because why not? And it will be just watch the VODs channel, the Twitch, to see. We will have a Games of the Year's list. I'm excited to see what games Tony's played this year. I guess we'll get a sneak preview on Steam. And we'll be doing the meme wars. We have lots of very funny memes. I want to make sure I don't miss anything. But yeah, I've literally been writing down so many memes from this year. So I'm excited to go through that. Let's go to announcements, cancellations, and delays. Sifu is officially coming to Steam. I believe it's out now. Let me double check, because I think, is it verified for deck? Let's have a look. No, it's not out yet. Coming soon, okay. Because I feel like I saw a video of someone saying you could play Sifu on deck, but we'll have to wait and see. I will be talking more about games that are verified to be on the deck now that I'm getting a Steam Deck, so expect more news about me trying games on the deck. But I think Sifu's a really interesting game. It was exclusive to Epic for a while, right? And then it was like a hallway fighting game, but it's also like a roguelite in a way where
I think
the way it works is every time you die, you get older, but if you get to 70, the game resets because you die at age 70.
So you try and find a way to complete the game.
It's sort of like it's sort of like a soft roguelite sort of thing. Yeah. I'm not sure.
I assume different stuff will happen multiple replays, sort of like Nier Automata. So
yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens to that, because I'm interested to play it. I was just waiting for it to come to Steam. Maybe I'll play it on Steam Deck. We'll have to wait and see.
On the deck.
Yeah, great on deck. Let's hope it's great on deck. Fingers crossed. I just realised I've been in full cam this entire time. It doesn't matter. I just played an entire trailer for Ninja Turtles Knockout City while I was in full cam, but it's all right. You know what the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
The guys you like to sell out.
Are they? Oh, we can't have any. We can't have any fun here. Let me turn those off.
There we go.
So this is an interesting one. Risk of Rain returns. So we have an announced trailer of they are developing a new version of the original Risk of Rain.
Really interesting.
But this is being developed by Hopo, the guys who made Risk of Rain, but have recently sold it to Gearbox. But it seems like Hopo must have developed this when the Gearbox acquired them. So it seems like they'd already made this, and then Gearbox bought them, and then were like, well, we might as well release this. But it's interesting because Hopo said they no longer wanted to work on the Risk of Rain franchise, which is one of the reasons they sold it.
That is interesting.
So I guess they were like, let's keep making shit, let's make money. Maybe they could have made this to try and pump up their value for the acquisition. They were like, hey, we've made another Risk of Rain game. You know how famously before Bethesda was acquired by Microsoft, Todd Howard wanted to rush out Fallout 76. He was like, this is going to be really popular. If it's really popular, Microsoft's going to want to spend more money on us. And we all know how rushing out Fallout 76 ended.
I will say, I think, unfortunately, I still think it might have worked because I think it still brought them a ton of money.
Okay.
But I think that and Elder Scrolls Online, both like two huge live services for them.
Yep. Okay, next up we have System Shock, the Night Dive full remake on Kickstarter. It has a real release date now, March 2023. So we're really close, 2 months away from playing the System Shock remaster, which I'm really looking forward to because it's going to be the first Night Dive made and led. It's still okay. So it's still like a remaster, but it's not like a Kex Engine remaster classic like they've been putting out, where they're incredibly faithful to the original but getting it running on modern systems. It's going to be like a full overhaul. It's going to be
right.
really interesting to like. I think it's in Unreal Engine 4.
How
Yeah,
long have you been waiting for this one?
a long time. I played a
Yeah.
demo for this like 10 years ago, I think.
Oh right. Okay.
Let me check. System, maybe not that long ago, but I definitely played a demo for this a long time ago. When was the System Shock remake announced? I don't know if I'm going to be able to find the exact date it was announced. System Shock 3 was announced in 2015. I don't know.
That's 8 years ago, right?
I definitely played like a demo for a System Shock remaster like at least like 5 years ago or something. So it's been a long fucking time. But I'm really excited for this. I'm a big fan of Night Dive. I don't know if you know, I'm a bit of a fan of the. Most people like the Strand type genre, but I'm a big fan of the Shock type genre. I'm more of a Shock type guy myself.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you on that. I think I prefer
Big
the
fan,
Shock
big fan of the
genre.
BIOS. Prey 2017 is one of the greatest games of all time. I have
Yeah.
never played System Shock 1 or 2, so I'm very excited to try it in this remastered form. Next up, we have Horde Mode XL is coming to World War Z, the game. I remember this game coming out, and I saw the huge hordes, and I was like, that looks cool. But it's based on that weird film / book / thing. It can't be that good. And it was free on Epic, and I played it, and I gotta say, I played the fucking hell out of this game. I honestly think this is the best zombie game since Left 4 Dead.
Okay, that's fair.
I think like the hordes and the way this game works it's really really good. They've really found a niche, and I feel like playing this game is when I was playing this game, I was like, this is what I feel like would be a good spiritual successor to Left 4 Dead. Like if Valve made another Left 4 Dead game.
Like more.
We had Back for Blood from Turtle Rock, but that didn't turn out so well. I'm not a big fan of Back for Blood.
Can I just say, when it comes to the World War Z trailers, I feel like, to me, like the trailers themselves, even the older ones, like don't really sell it. To me, like the gameplay that you showed, like, and I saw like you playing it, like sell it way more than the trailers do.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. There's something wrong. I think they
have that like is it Days Gone, where you just have the sheer number of zombies is just breathtaking. You know, like in RTX with Rats, A Plague Tale, you just have all those fucking rats on the screen. It's just the spectacle is so cool.
Yeah, a lot of one thing with slight variations is like imposing and quite something to witness.
But yeah, and I haven't played Aftermath because I got it through an Epic. And I wanted to get it on Steam, but then I didn't get it on Steam because I wanted my progress from Epic to carry over. But there's no like legal way to carry it. Like you can kind of transfer files, but I don't know about the legality of doing that. It might break like a EULA or something.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it might break tons of service.
I would love for them to be like, hey, if you play this on another platform, you can have cross progression between platforms. Get it on Steam or whatever. Because I would like to purchase the Aftermath edition on Steam and then carry over my Epic progress. Then I could play this on Steam Deck. It probably doesn't work on Steam Deck, to be honest with you. I feel like the amount of CPU. Let's go type in Star Trek. What's it called? World War Z Steam. The amount of CPU. It's verified on Steam. Okay, let's go.
It must work. It must.
Guys, I'm playing World War Z Aftermath on Steam. Let me purchase it at some point. Next up we have releases. Evacuation, a Half-Life 2 mod, came out on Steam. I played it a couple of days ago because I had no internet. And I was like, oh, I can play this while I wait. It's okay. It's not very long.
It's okay.
It's about an hour and a half long. Yeah. It's not amazing, it's not terrible. It is fine. If you're looking for a nice, short, little, sweet Half-Life 2 mod that is exactly like the Half-Life 2 you played, this is it. It is fine. That's what the reviews say. Yeah, it's a decent Half-Life 2 mod with a playtime of 1.5 hours to 2 hours. Yeah. I think it's alright. Payday 3 has its official store page up now, Tony. It's coming this year. 2023 will be known as the year of Payday 3, guys. Just you wait.
Current year.
I don't know. I just don't know about Payday anymore. Like, I loved Payday the Heist. I thought Payday 2 was really good. And then they kind of fucking lost it on Payday 2 with the amount of DLC and them adding, like, the loot drill boxes and stuff like that. And then the company going, like, fuck it. Like, Starbreeze going, like, bankrupt. And then,
I feel like didn't the updates ruin it for like I feel like when Payday 2 first came out, I was like I could like go into Payday 2 and go, oh, this makes sense. I could like play it as like a beginner, and then like I waited, well, not waited for anything particular, but I didn't play it for like forever. And it's like years later, it's like this like then like Halo Andy was saying like, oh, like yeah, some of the DLCs changed stuff, so like you can't do the stuff you did before.
I think you're saying about like some of the perks in the game made it like, like super OP. Where you just had perk decks that made the game a joke. For like downloadable content.
But I thought you couldn't choose like the way you did like progression between different missions. You couldn't choose it, so like it would not. Some of these experiences were not fun. Some of them were, and it's like it wasn't like a proper ordering to it. And that kind of.
I don't know. One of the most fun experiences I had in Payday 2 was just trying to co-op stealth the missions. Where we'd all be like hiding in corners and go, 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 and we'd like run across and try not to be detected. Or it would just be like we would be doing Diamond Heist and trying to speed run, go into Diamond Heist and do it as quickly as possible to go and try and make quick money to buy new gear and stuff like that. That was fun stuff. I don't really care about all the other stuff. So if Payday 3 can come out and it's got some, some genuinely fun missions, maybe I'll give it a try, but I don't know. Payday 2 sort of left a sour taste in my mouth when it comes to the Payday franchise. Next up we have this is quick news, by the way. 61 gigabytes of Team Fortress 2 maps, models, and more have leaked onto the internet. Oh, you'll love to see it. Getting a fucking one of those bot messages about giving us some free viewers. But yeah, anyway. The TF2 stuff leaked. It's one of the biggest, like, in terms of size of the files and stuff, it's one of the biggest leaks of Valve stuff. Like, there's been bigger leaks, like, obviously the Half-Life 2 beta leaking, and to that guy in Germany. It's just leaking it everywhere on the internet, and the source code being leaked was pretty huge, but okay, Bing Chilling. 369 Andy with the sub. You'll love to see it so much. Yeah. I don't know what's happened. Like 2022 was the year of leaks. So we had the Duke Nukem Forever leak of the 2001 version of Duke Nukem Forever. We had like a bunch of like old Apogee stuff, like Boomer Shooter stuff was leaking. There was a leak of the cancelled Duke Nukem side scroller, like a follow up from the original side scrollers from 1996. I don't know what the fuck's happening, but apparently GTA 6 got leaked last year as well. That was a huge one. I feel like 2022 was like the year of the leak. Like everything was just leaking onto the internet.
And almost all of them like social engineered, like getting like high up admin.
I know for like the Steam one, apparently someone social engineered their way to a Steam repo license where they could get access to like the database, and essentially a bad actor got in there through social engineering, grabbed all of the old assets, and then just leaked them onto the internet.
Yeah. I just feel like a lot of that, like almost all of them, as I've seen, there's been a couple where that's not been the case, but a lot of them have been. It's just, it feels maybe the human security side of it isn't very good.
High on Life is Xbox Game Pass's biggest 2022 launch and the biggest third-party Game Pass launch ever. Like, High on Life is like the biggest Games Pass game I think we've seen in a long time. It's one of those games you look at and you go, oh, that would be fun to play, and then you just play on Games Pass instead of actually like purchasing it, because it's like, it feels like it was short enough and interesting enough that people just wanted to try it. They didn't want to commit to actually purchasing the game, which was like a good idea. I just wish you could get Games Pass on Steam. I think that would be really cool. Apparently, you can play. I saw a video. Someone was playing Sea of Thieves on Steam Deck, and I was like, I thought that was impossible because of the Microsoft account integration.
They install Windows on it.
I think you could just launch it from Steam. I could be wrong.
Oh, they might have found a way to launch it. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, because I know like you can't play like Halo Infinite on Steam Deck at all. It's just fucked. Yeah.
You can play Minecraft though.
Is there a Linux version of the Java version? Are you talking Bedrock or?
No, it's Java. Well, Java runs on anything because it's its own virtual machine. But the only difficulty is trying to get the launcher to work and then getting the settings to work.
Okay, right. So High on Life, biggest Xbox Game Pass 2022. It's a bit bad timing. I don't know if you've seen the news. Apparently, I think Justin Roiland, the Rick and Morty guy, was just accused of domestic abuse or something from a case from 2 years ago.
I haven't seen that. No, I haven't seen that.
So we'll have to see how that turns out. The people are already talking about like, because I'm a fan of like the Rick and Morty humor, but people are like, wow, it's really hard to be a Rick and Morty fan now, because people are always clowning on Rick and Morty fans, and now Justin Roiland's got in hot water. The Witcher on Twitter, they've released a hotfix for The Witcher 3 on PC, which should improve the overall stability and performance and fix GOG and Steam overlays. The game version won't change. Our teams are working on further improving the experience on all platforms.
Okay.
Oh, The Witcher 3 Enhanced Edition. That is a fantastic game to test out a new graphics card on.
Yeah, that's true.
Because it's really fucking heavy with ray tracing.
And there's no like sub settings for the ray tracing, right?
So there's ray tracing on or off.
Yeah.
But modders have already made their own options for the ray tracing. So modders have fixed it.
Yeah.
Which was talked about in the Digital Foundry video.
Yeah.
Which is kind of huge. This is something you might be able to talk about, Tony. I don't know if you look at this. Skyrim Upscale. Have you seen this? Someone's made a DLSS FSR2 XESS mod for Skyrim to essentially just upscale it through these technologies.
Yeah, I've seen little bits of it and I've seen it working, but I've not been able to like look into it too much because it's incompatible with EMB currently. I will say though,
it's not compatible with EMBs because of the way it needs to inject into the.
But I recently downloaded because I downloaded an updated version of EMB
temporal data.
From Boris's website though. But apparently it is possible for him to patch it so it does work, but it's like a lot of effort. But he might do it. But so we'll see. It might be possible in the future to do both. At the moment, it's one or the other.
All right. Yeah. Cool. Let's move on. Next up we have Hogwarts Legacy will be Steam Deck verified on launch, which is awesome to see. I mean, it's coming out on Switch, I believe, so it shouldn't be too hard to get running on the Steam Deck as well.
Like in Digital Foundry, they have like the optimal settings, and it's like always like at the moment kind of similar to like the PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series
Yeah.
X's settings. Do you think? I assume they would be like compared to like what Nintendo Switch's settings are. The Steam Deck would be just like double it.
Yeah, the Steam Deck's definitely more powerful than the Switch. I mean, the Switch is running on a Tegra X1, and then
Yeah,
the Steam Deck is running on a Big Navi RDNA 2 die, but it's cut down to be like two GPU cores or something like that.
yeah. It's made to be power efficient.
I know it runs at 45 watts. Sorry, it's the Steam Deck is on a custom AMD 2 Vanguard APU. The CPU has 4 cores and 8 threads. It has 8 RDNA compute units, not 2. That would be quite a few, but I think that's definitely more cut down than like the Xbox Series S or the Xbox Series X, for example.
Absolutely.
I think the biggest complaint about the Steam Deck is it has a relatively weak CPU because it's still the Zen 2 CPU when we have Zen 3 and Zen 4 out now.
That combined with I mean, it's gonna be like new. There's gonna be new graphics cards as well. So I'm wondering if there is ever gonna be a Steam Deck 2, if it'd be like
based on what Valve has been saying, it seems like the biggest concern that they want to fix is battery life and screen quality. So my guess is if they are going to release a second Steam Deck, it would be the same chip, but with an OLED screen and a better, more efficient or / bigger battery. I mean, the problem with a bigger battery is the form of the console is already so big that I think they would be looking towards more efficient batteries to try and squeeze in something more power efficient.
There might be some clever stuff they can do with like optimizing stuff to, or like game
settings. That's like, the beauty of the Steam Deck. You can kind of decide how much juice you want to drain on it based on your graphics settings. I mean, for me personally, I've already ordered like a battery bank sort of thing to go with it.
Yeah, external. Yeah. It's cool. You can do that. I mean, you can totally do it with the Switch.
It's like it was like an Anker one that was like 2,800, 600 watts or whatever. But the way it works is it basically has a USB. You charge the USB-C, but it has a USB-C charger that comes off and can charge up to 45 watts. So it's like perfect for the Steam Deck.
That's really. But yeah, I think I agree with Valve. Is like I feel like battery and screen was like. I think that's better to improve first over anything.
But the battery pack I got, if I fully charge it, it should be able to charge the Steam Deck like 5 times over.
Really?
Yeah. So
it's like 5 times capacity of the Steam Deck's inbuilt battery.
Yeah, kind of. It depends how you run the Steam Deck. Because I think like if you're really running like really intensive games, it would be like an hour and a half to 2 hours. But if you're running like low intensity, low FPS like 2D games or you're just running at lower settings, it can go up to like 4 to 6 hours. I think they say you can get 8, but that's probably really cut back, like low brightness, very like low settings, very light gaming. But yeah. One thing I do want to mention about Hogwarts Legacy being Steam Deck verified is that it's going to have de novo on launch as well, which I think is really funny how a game can be verified for the Steam Deck when most people using the Steam Deck will be using it offline, and it has a game that's verified to run on it that requires you to log into a DRM. So I don't know, like, if that's a fault of the verification system or if that's
Doesn't de novo need like quite a low kernel level like permissions to do some things as well?
I don't know, to be honest with you.
Or they fixed that now?
I've just given up with de novo at this point. I mean, there's honestly not much you can do if a game has de novo other than if enough people Well, okay. But
buy it and then pirate it.
No, I don't think that's going to help. Like, if they see people pirating a game that has de novo, they're going to go, oh, we put de novo on it, and people are still trying to pirate. We need to make sure we always have de novo on our next game.
I guess.
No, what I was going to say was, I think the easiest way for customers to vote is with their wallet. So if you don't like something, don't buy it. I mean, I don't always follow my own advice. Sometimes I buy things that I disagree with because I want them. Which I think is
the issue.
It's really hard to not buy something when you want to engage with it, but there's one thing about it that you disagree with. It reminds me of one of my favorite images of all time. That is the Steam group called Boycott Modern Warfare 2. That is full of people playing Modern Warfare 2 on launch. Just the hypocrisy of the image is so great.
Yeah. I just feel like this kind of I've never seen like a purchase boycott really do anything. The only time I've seen it work is when in tandem with that there's like lots of like people complaining on Twitter or something and they have to respond. And then at that point I'm more willing to say that people on Twitter have more response than the boycott itself, but that's just me.
Yeah. Next up, Vampire Survivors has outlined its plans for 2023, including the long-awaited engine upgrade, content packs, and more. I've been playing Vampire Survivors this year. I haven't played too much. I'll probably be playing it a lot more on the Steam Deck, given that it will run very well on there.
Yep.
I think one of the big things was, well, don't you guys have phones? Because the iOS and Android version just came out as well. And if you don't know how that works...
The inputs be worse, though.
Yeah, I mean... You know what I'm most excited to play on the Steam Deck? Because I'll tell you something. I don't know if I told you. I think I told you this, but I haven't said it yet. I went on the plane to Sweden, and for like an hour and a half, I pulled out my phone. And I was like, I can play Slay the Spire for a bit. I played Slay the Spire. I played Slay the Spire on my phone for like an hour and a half, and then I looked up and I was like, oh, I've been on a plane for an hour and a half playing Slay the Spire the entire time. You know. The one thing I'm really excited for is that I can play Slay the Spire mods on on the Steam Deck, because there's one that's native. It's called Slay the Spire Downfall, which is really cool because it essentially adds a brand new class called the Gunslinger. If it's called the Hermit. The Hermit, yeah, the Hermit is the Gunslinger. And it also gives you a brand new way to play, where you play as the bosses from Slay the Spire, and you have to attack the adventurer, which I think is really funny. I always think it's really funny that I played like hundreds of hours of Slay the Spire, and I played it like really early on development before they added the finale ending to the game. And the first time I ever beat Slay the Spire with the proper final ending that they added eventually, I was playing it on mobile, the mobile version, instead of the desktop version I've played so much. But yeah. Anyway, I was talking about Vampire Survivors. I wasn't talking about Slay the Spire. I got distracted. They're doing an engine upgrade. They said they want to offer a new engine on PC because they want to be able to increase performance. Some people have been complaining about when you have lots of stuff on the screen, it gets like a lot of slowdown. It's a lot harder to track. They were like, it wasn't as straightforward as we wanted it to be on PC, because we needed to develop a config tool first that allowed you to change the game version to launch with and what options. And they were saying this might be really challenging jobs, particularly on the Steam Deck.
Really?
I don't know I think this has been announced, but I've been using this in the Steam beta for a while now, that you can use on the desktop version of Steam, not the Steam Deck. You know when you launch a game and it goes, do you want to launch this in DirectX 11, DirectX 12, Vulkan?
Yeah, but there's multiple launch options.
I don't know if this has gone outside the beta yet, or you've experienced this, but from using the beta version of Steam, there's now an option to go, remember my choice.
No, I've not seen that. No, that's new.
So basically, like, because I've been playing Hades recently, I'm like, just play it in DirectX 11 or whatever. instead of Vulcan. And I just hit that. I just say, remember my choice sort of thing, and it just launches now without having to ask me. And then you can now, if you want to change that, you can just hit the cogwheel in the library and say, hey, I want to edit how this launches, rather than it asking you every single time, which I think is
so useful,
a lot more frictionless, which is a really cool idea.
Yep.
Which essentially I think is something that's going to be super useful for stuff like Vampire Survivors that's going to have multiple versions of the engine. You can just say, hey, I want to play on the Steam Deck version, and then just set that to always launch like that. Essentially what they were saying is they want to be able to develop this new engine, and they said at first it was 10 times more performant than the original Vampire Survivors engine, but the game physics were behaving really weird and not in the arcadey nature that they normally behave. So they focused on making it like the fidelity as what you know from Vampire Survivors to like match what you would expect playing the game. And they said that it's not as significant as 10 times anymore, but overall the game is more performance, has better hardware compatibility, and a lot more options, which is really cool to see. I think they said they're going to keep trying to develop the separate branches of the engine, so the new engine and the old engine for people with older PCs or whatever. But eventually there'll come a point where they'll have to just drop the older version and just work on the new version, which is
there'll be a final update.
Which is what we're seeing with stuff like Minecraft, for example. Eventually they're just going to drop the Java version because Java is so fucking old at this point.
I don't think that's anytime soon though, because there are still things they haven't ported over, but the parity is getting closer and closer.
Yeah.
And also, they need to actually add proper modding support to Bedrock if they're going to do that.
Port with RTX put out a new default settings for weaker NVIDIA cards. You rightfully, when we were talking about Portal RTX, you were saying, why didn't they just put out new default settings to help people with weaker cards run it? And I was like,
even if it's wrong, you can change it.
And I was like, they could do that, but everyone has their own unique system. But yeah, it seems like they're doing exactly that. They are.
It's because they listen to the podcast. That's the thing.
As huge fans of the podcast, NVIDIA Lightbridge Studios. They listened to Tony and they've made it so you can essentially get the thing that really surprised me with Portal RTX as playing out of 2080 was just how good ultra performance or performance DLSS looks. It still looks great. I was able to play it through at like 30, 40 FPS.
Do you think that's because it was built to do every piece of rendering through ray tracing?
Path tracing.
Yeah, do you think because of that it was like able to have more information for DLSS to run?
I don't know, because it's essentially just a container for the original game. You got to remember it's still a mod.
Yeah. But if it's intercepting like the graphics engine side of it, I'm just wondering if it's because it can do that. But yeah, I guess you still need to render the original part as well if you turn those features off. I don't know. Yeah, it's weird.
But yeah, so I've played this with a 2080. I will try this again with a 4080, and we will see how much of a difference in performance we can get. Because I'm very, very interested to crank this up and also try frame generation. I think this is the only frame generation game I own, so I'm very interested to try this out.
This is Cyberpunk is the other one, wasn't it?
I don't own Cyberpunk.
No, the thing is that's like I don't know.
So off the top of my head, Portal RTX, Cyberpunk, Microsoft Flight Simulator, Plague Tale Requiem.
Oh, it has it, does it? Okay.
Yeah, I think those are the ones I know. DLSS, right? Spider-Man. I don't know if it's Miles Morales. One of them has frame. One of the Spider-Man has frame generation on it.
Okay.
I'd be very interested to try it out. I think The Witcher 3 as well has it.
Oh, okay.
The enhanced edition.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is a really good idea because there is people still straight up being ignorant about the game. Like, this is a review I took. I censored the name because I don't want to harass anyone, but basically they said So basically, Nvidia took a classic game and made it unplayable. I have an RTX 3090, and this game is unplayable on it. It is too demanding to render on my 4K monitor without awful tearing. The obvious solution would be to enable DLSS. Looking in the game settings, however, there are no options to adjust the DLSS settings. Yes, there is! There's literally settings to adjust your DLSS! You need to press the Alt and Z, I think it is. Off the top of my head. But this is what's happening. Because they didn't have these default settings, people are like, there's no options. There's no way to turn DLSS on.
How much money do you pay for this this new experience?
It's completely free, Tony.
Oh, right. Interesting.
It's a way to showcase the modding technology of Omniverse.
Yeah. I mean, a massive advertisement for Nvidia hardware, I suppose, but it's still free.
It's just a way for those Nvidia fuckers to sell their cards that nobody wants.
Yeah.
Those
like
bastards.
This guy that bought 3090.
What a chump.
What a sheep.
I'm getting an AMD FTX. I was gonna call it. It was XTX. I wanted to call it the AMD FTX. That would have been a great collab. Did you hear about the XTX thermal chamber problems they were having? Where they had to recall some cards because
apparently
of,
that's entirely related to the AMD made coolers, not any of the partners.
It was just the founder card sort of thing, wasn't it?
Yes. Because there was some issue. Some people kept thinking, "Oh, wait, is it all AMD cards?" And it's like, no, it's just. The thing is, though, if you watch Gameless Nexus review of the XT and the XTX, it's basically the XT was too expensive. The XTX made sense, but the cooler was shit. Just wait for other partner cards.
Well, I think it's because obviously Nvidia had problems with their adapter for their 12 VH, whatever the fuck it's called.
Well, it's more than just the adapter; it's the entire plug being slightly in and out.
The plug thing. So AMD was clowning on them for having, burning out. It's like, maybe you shouldn't be doing that if your top-end card is literally got awful thermals because of your cooling solution.
Yeah. I guess technically they didn't know at the time, I suppose, what they're making, but I just think it's not a useful thing to do. It's not. It doesn't help anyone. It's just don't do it.
The Force engine, the project to reverse engineer and rebuild the Jedi engine for Dark Forces has reached version 1.0. And I have been playing the shit out of this. I sat down to test it out, and then I just kept playing it for ages. And then I sat down a couple of days ago when I had no internet, and I was like, oh, yeah, I was looking at it again, and I was like, I should test this out, and I played another 2 levels on it. This is really Dark Forces is really fun. I love boomer shooters. It has one of the most interesting systems in a boomer shooter, where you have in Doom or something, you would have an end goal where you just go to a door and then you push a button and leave. But Dark Forces, you have a list of objectives, and then at any point you can escape. And then you can go to the next mission. It's kind of weird. Sometimes you have to go to an escape ship. Sometimes you don't. But this engine's really cool. This source port, or reverse engineered port of the Dark Force engine is really cool. They're also going to add Outlaw support as well. If you don't know what Outlaw is, it's another LucasArts FPS. It's like a cowboy shooter. So really, really interested to see that when it comes out. Definitely giving that a try. But yeah, I've tested the Force engine port. It's really, really good. You can do full crosshair support, mouse look, full high resolution widescreen support, mods, quick saves, full saves. Because the original Dark Forces runs on a life system, which is really fucking strange from a boomer shooter, but it runs on a life system. I've been using the crosshair. I've been using quick saves. One thing I would like is something really useful feature that GZ Doom has you can turn head bobbing off or turn head bobbing down. I'm not a big head bob enjoyer. It actually makes me feel a little bit sick.
Yeah.
So an option to turn that down or turn it off completely would be very useful.
Yeah. I wish I hope they do have a slider personally, because I think on off is a little bit too.
Currently, there's no Linux support either, so you can't run this on Steam Deck yet either. But when that is, I think it's planned to be added. So when they get like the Outlaws support and the Linux support, it'd be really, really cool to run like Dark Forces or Outlaws on the Steam Deck. I think that would be really, really cool to see. Hitman 3 to become the world of assassination, making Hitman 1 and 2 free for owners of Hitman 3. So it seems like IO is trying to unconfuse their purchases.
Right.
So they're trying to turn Hitman 3 into the Hitman game, where you get Hitman 3 and then you can play Hitman 1 levels and Hitman 2 levels in Hitman 3, which I think is probably a good idea, because I remember me and you trying to go through the minefield that was the purchasing decisions of trying to buy Hitman.
Didn't we also both buy slightly different versions? We couldn't actually figure out what the difference was of what we owned.
There was a gold edition, there was a season pass. It's like, because the way it works is like, the base game was free, but you bought all the levels separately because they were doing this episodic thing.
Yeah, the base game was free, but you only got like the tutorial and mission 1. And that was it.
Yeah, and it made more sense at the time when you could just buy a level and it was like, cool, I can't wait for the next level to come out. But it just, like, years later, going through and trying to play Hitman 1, 2, or 3 is so fucking confusing, because there is so many different versions of the game.
Yeah. But that's the problem. Like, to me, I don't understand this, because other games have done this episodic thing, and then what happens is, you can buy all the season 1 episodes. You can buy all the season 2 episodes or levels or whatever you want to do. Like, normally it's in like Telltale like games, right? And it's like, normally it's just like, you can buy the entire pack, and it's like it includes all these DLCs and it makes sense. This was like, you could buy different versions of DLCs that crossed that crossed over with like other versions that you could buy, and it's like, why have you not just like simplified this as time's gone on?
So what's going to happen? So as of the 26th of January 2023, if you own Hitman 3, you will get access to Hitman 1 and 2 for free for the purchase of Hitman 3. And they're drastically simplifying the purchase experience for new players. So Hitman World of Assassination, as they're calling it, which will be Hitman 3, 1 and 2 added together, will be the single available option to start playing. So if you want to play any of the Hitman games, you essentially just buy Hitman 3, or as it's now called, Hitman World of Assassination.
Okay, that makes more sense, but I don't know why it got messed up to begin with. I don't know what the hell they were doing. It's confused.
So what do I do as someone who has Hitman 1 and 2 in some of the maps, but doesn't own Hitman 3? But I just have to buy Hitman 3 to get the maps I don't own in Hitman 1 or 2, or...
Yeah.
I'm just going to have to wait and see when January 26th comes out, I guess. I don't fucking know. This is a headache, and they're trying to fix the headache. But
just in time for the next podcast.
Yep. Next up, we have the Steam Awards presenting your winners. Alright, Tony, let's go through these. So let's start at the bottom. Oh, I'm definitely raging.
Yeah, I'm raging.
2022, best game on the go. We had Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, Vampire Survivors, Death Stranding, Brotato, and Marvel Snap. I think all of these are pretty good nominations. I think Death Stranding was the most... People are playing Death Stranding on the Steam Deck, what the fuck, for me. I voted for Vampire Survivors. What did you vote for?
I also voted for Vampire Survivors.
It was one of the few... I think it's the only game on the list I've played. And I love Vampire Survivors. And I feel like it is the Steam Deck game of the year. I've seen so many people playing Vampire Survivors on Steam Deck. I don't know if that many people are actually playing Death Stranding on the Steam Deck. Maybe they saw, I know Death Stranding, they clicked on it and got a card for voting.
Well, I don't know, because also if you go on it, it goes, "Oh, this is Steam verified," so I guess this runs. That's kind of cool that you can play it on there. But I think I don't actually know how well it plays, so I can't.
I know Death Stranding is really well optimized on PC. Like, and it has like really cool technology like DLSS. I think it has FSR.
How low can its settings go? Like, I see if it can go really low,
it can scale down really low.
Well, I guess if you play on the scenes are quite fine then. Okay, fair enough.
I think it has FSR.
Yeah, I was slightly annoyed by this one because I feel like this was more memey, but I might be just misunderstanding why people are going for it. So
yeah, I think this.
This is the
one I'm the least angry about.
Yeah.
So Sit Back and Relax Award 2022. Star Wars: The Skywalker Legacy Saga, Power Wash Simulator, Disney Dreamlight Valley, Dorf Romantic, and Slime Rancher 2. I voted for Power Wash Simulator. I'm guessing you voted for Dorf Romantic.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga one, whatever, dude. People like to sit back and relax with the Lego game. I can't think of a more relaxing game for me than Power Wash Simulator, but that's just me personally.
But I will say, during the phase of last year, I mean, this can be in the meme awards, but me just going, because I subscribe to Star Wars stuff and Lego stuff, just being inundated with Lego Star Wars videos. I will say, people just seem to be super chill about it. It's like just having fun with it, so I can kind of understand it. And to me, Power Wash does not seem relaxing. So,
outstanding story-rich game. Plague Tale Requiem, God of War, Uncharted Legacy of Thieves Collection, the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, and Spider-Man Remastered. I voted for one of the two only games that actually came out that year, the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, which I think is a contender for Game of the Year for me.
But
absolutely. It was God of War that won, which...
Yeah. I put Plague Tale Requiem down because I'm a rat man.
RTX rats?
Yeah.
So, let's get into a quick discussion, Tony.
Yep.
This is the Steam Awards. The idea is it's an award show for games that came out in Steam in 2022.
Yep.
What kind of annoys me, though, is it's to a lot of people, this is just the best games of 2022. And there's an interesting discussion to be had about whether a game being released on Steam that came out, 4 years ago deserves to be nominated for a category like this.
Yeah. But if it did actually come out on Steam this year...
Yeah. I think it's up to people's interpretation of the award. I mean, I get very annoyed by some of these because people just vote for popular games. I think...
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That annoys me more than it being out in the wrong year. Cause
the game... God of War getting nominated for this award, I don't mind. I think God of War is a good game for anything I've seen of it. I mean, last year we were talking about our most anticipated games of 2022, and I said God of War coming onto PC was one of the most anticipated games.
Yeah.
Because I'm a huge God of War fan. I've played all the PlayStation 2 games and the PSP games, so I was excited to try it out. I have it. I haven't played it yet. Whether I play it on a 4080 or a Steam Deck, we'll have to wait and see. Maybe both.
Complete tangent here about God of War. Do you think the new God of War is more gay than he was in the previous one?
What? What are you talking about?
There's a subset of people that the new God of War, he has emotions. He's so gay. It's like, what are you on about?
I have never thought about that until now.
So you're not an unreasonable human being. Okay.
No, I haven't. I mean, why are they saying that? Because he was he was always
in a relationship with his son.
He always was grief-stricken about his family and the PlayStation game, so it's nothing new for me.
But during the gameplay, he wasn't talking about it all the time, and now he is. He must be gay.
Well, that's why it won, because he's super gay.
Yeah,
there it is.
2022, be gay.
Okay, this one pissed me off. Best soundtrack. The Unsung Heroes deserves to be recognized for its outstanding musical score. It's the OST with the most. We had Metal Hellsinger, Sonic Frontiers, Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, Persona 5 Royale, and this Hatsune Miku game.
I think this is where your previous discussion is more contentious because
I'm starting to get a little. Okay, first up, how the fuck is Neon White not nominated for this award?
Yeah, 100%.
Neon White's the Machine Girl soundtrack for Neon White is the best fucking soundtrack of the year. There is no doubt in my mind. Okay, that aside, I think I voted for Sonic Frontiers. I think Metal Hellsinger is another great vote. I think it had an awesome soundtrack.
I voted for that one.
I'm personally not the biggest metal fan, but I can still appreciate that it's good music.
I'm not a big metal. I mean, I like certain metal stuff, but I don't like some of it. But yeah, no, I appreciate how cool it was.
Final Fantasy VII came out 20 years ago.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say not all of the tracks. Some of the tracks were new, but most of them were old.
Yeah, at what point do we say? At what point are people voting for the new tracks that were added to the Final Fantasy VII remake and thought, oh, these are better than Sonic Frontiers or Metal Hellsinger? And at what point are people going, I love the soundtrack to that game that came out in 1997. I'm going to vote for that for a Steam award.
Mm-hmm.
This is where it gets really contentious with the release dates. This is where it really starts to piss me off.
Yeah.
But if people genuinely loved the new tracks that were added to this version that came out this year on Steam, because it was already out on PlayStation and already out on Epic.
But I can't even find what new ones were added compared to the old stuff. So
next
I don't know.
Up,
yeah, I think this is much more contentious than this is just a popularity vote.
Best game you suck at: GTFO, Victoria, Total Warhammer 3, Elden Ring, and FIFA. Elden Ring won. Fair enough. That's a fantastic winner, I think.
I vote for Elden Ring as well on this one. Can I just say,
vote for Elden Ring, yeah.
I'm surprised Victoria 3 even made it to the nominations. That's kind of impressive.
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't know much about Victoria 3.
Well, it's a Paradox game. It's a Paradox 4X game.
Yeah.
The fact that that's ever made it to a nomination.
I think this is a very clear-cut win. I mean, it's a very popular game. It's clearly a very good game based on people's reception to it, and it is a very tough game to play. So
a lot of people sucked it at the start.
Okay, most innovative gameplay. This one really pissed me off.
Yeah, this is the worst.
Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord, Teardown, Stray, Neon White, and Domekeeper. Stray won the game, and if you don't know, the gameplay of that game is literally like 2 buttons.
It's a walking sim.
It's a walking sim with press X to jump on it.
An interesting one. But it's not gameplay innovative.
If this was the best indie game of the year and Cat Game won Stray, fair enough.
Best indie story.
There is nothing fucking innovative about the gameplay of Stray.
Yeah.
You're literally going up against Teardown, which the entire game is voxel based. Structural destruction, which is really interesting.
Yep.
Neon White, which is a distilled speedrunning game that uses discarding cards in order to get through levels as quickly as possible, which has an FPS element to it. Domekeeper, which is a mining dome survival roguelite. And then you have Cat Game and Sword Game.
I would say Mountain Blade 2 is also kind of egregious, but not as egregious as Stray. As far as I'm aware, not much change from Mountain Blade 1 to 2.
So I voted for Neon White here. I fucking love Neon White. But Stray winning is clearly a popularity contest here.
Yeah,
I don't think
a good game, but not in gameplay.
Yeah. Don't worry, Tony. We're gonna have our own awards show with blackjack and hookers, and I will give all the awards to Neon White. Outstanding visual style. We had Scorn, Bendy and the Dark Revival, Cult of the Lamb, Spider-Man Miles Morales, and Kenna Bridge of Spirits. I voted for Cult of the Lamb, and Spider-Man Miles Morales won, and I don't have a problem with this. I think the ray tracing in this game was really cool.
Yeah.
And I think, honestly, any of these could have won, and I would have been like, yeah, that's
I would
fine.
say the effects and from powers from Spider-Man, the enemies and sort of things, I think are really well done things. I mean, to me, my interpretation of that same visual style is a unique style, not just to me, I would never have given it to Spider-Man, despite Spider-Man looking really nice.
Yeah, I think Cult of the Lamb had one of the most unique visual styles I'd seen, with a mix of 2D and 3D.
Yeah.
But I think if you were the best graphics, Spider-Man Miles Morales was a really graphically good-looking game.
I think they're all deserving of it here. Just not entirely to my interpretation, I suppose.
Next up, we have the Better of Friends Award. We have Raft, Ready or Not, Monster Hunter Rise, Multiverses, and Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. I voted for Multiverses here. The winner was Raft. I'm fine with this. I'm also somebody who played Raft in 2022 with friends, and it was really fun. Finally completing the game and getting to all the new endgame content. I really recommend Raft. The game came out years ago, though, and I also really enjoyed my time in Multiverses, which is why, personally, I voted for Multiverses. I think Multiverses was such a great surprise for me this year that I just genuinely had so much fun with my friend playing because Multiverses is specifically designed to be a co-op platform fighter, where I feel
which is really cool.
It was so much better because of the co-op element, which is why I put it slightly above Raft, which I think is a very decent single-player game, as well as a co-op game.
Yeah.
But I think both were deserving of a win there. Next up, we have the Labour of Love Award, and this one is a little bit contentious for me. We had Dota 2, Project Zomboid, No Man's Sky, Deep Rock Galactic, and Cyberpunk 2077. I voted for Deep Rock Galactic here.
Yeah, same.
That game, I mean, I think I would have been okay with any of these winning if they weren't called Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah.
But
I want to say that this is the year that Cyberpunk became playable, but that's getting it back to what it should have been on launch.
All I'm going to say is, you can argue, look, Cyberpunk released in an awful state.
Yep.
They got absolutely torn to shreds about it, and they buckled down, they worked hard on it, and they turned it around to be a great game. Yeah!
Absolutely. Fair enough.
Okay, let me say that...
Is that Labour of Love, though?
No. Okay, you're going to argue that.
Okay.
No Man's Sky released in a really broken state, they got absolutely ripped to shreds, and they bunkered down, and they Labour of Love the award for years more than Cyberpunk. They kept giving free update, free update.
Yeah.
If you're going to use that to justify the Cyberpunk nomination, you have to give the same leeway to No Man's Sky, and No Man's Sky has so much more content and updates put into it by the developers that it would be way more deserving of this award than Cyberpunk.
There's hardly anything newly added over the few updates. Most of it has been fixing. So
I voted for Deep Rock Galactic because that game was amazing from the start and just kept getting better with stuff like the content they added, the mod.io support they added.
And I remember what they add every year, and it's oh, that's really cool.
Next up, this is probably my most egregious one.
This
is my... Okay, a lot of them piss me off. This one pissed me the most off. So we have VR Game of the Year, Bone Lab, Hitman 3, Greenheld VR, Among Us VR, and Inside the Backrooms. I don't know what the fuck Inside the Backrooms is.
No, what is that?
Hitman 3 won. If any of the other games, I've played Among Us VR, it's fantastic. I've played Greenheld VR's demo, it's actually pretty good. Okay. Bone Lab seems pretty good from the reviews. Hitman 3's VR port is one of the worst VR ports of all time, and literally nobody who voted for this played it, because they were all voting for Hitman 3 because they'd either played the non-VR version or they'd heard about the non-VR version. This is one of the one of the most egregious popularity contest wins we've seen in a long time, and I'm giving Hitman 3 the Inbetween Podcasts GTA 5 of the Year award for being the popular vote for no reason in the wrong category.
The most what's the word? Is not
undeserving
award. Yeah, undeserving. The most undeserving award.
The VR port of this is fucking atrocious, and they've done nothing to fix it. And it is a travesty. I vote for Among Us VR.
Okay, same.
Because it was made by Shell Games, and it was an actual real VR game.
Yeah.
Made to be a VR game from the ground up.
I was super tempted between Bone Labs and Among Us VR, but I thought Among Us VR was kind of a cool concept, so...
It's actually made by a real VR developer who knows how to make VR games.
As well. Oh, dear.
Oh, man, this is... Yeah. Let's move on. This is the big one. The Game of the Year award, we had Dying Light, Stay Human, Elden Ring, Cat Game, God of War, and Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Elden Ring won. I voted for Elden Ring. I haven't played any of these games, but I'd be lying if I said Elden Ring hadn't had an impact on my life this year. Having seen so many streams of people playing Elden Ring, including personal friends playing Elden Ring through Discord, seeing Elden Ring memes on YouTube and Twitter and everywhere.
It's been good fun.
I think Elden Ring is a really cool-looking game. I'm excited to try it one day, but God, I have a big backlog. I'm not trying it anytime soon.
Are any of these undeserving as nominees? So I feel okay.
Modern Warfare 2...
I would have originally agreed with that. I've seen people play it and go, oh, okay, I understand why people like this.
Yeah, it just got shit on massively. Like, if you go to the store page right now, it still has mixed reviews, which is why I'm saying, how can a game be so massively mixed / hated when it launched and still be considered to be one of the best games of the year?
Are they complaining about single player or multiplayer?
I think it was like the Activision account. I'll read some of the recent reviews.
Okay. But from my understanding, that people really liked the single player in it.
One of the biggest negative reviews is saying $60 is not a sale, guys. If Activision decides that you are playing too well, your actually outcoming damage and damage done to you and by bots will be tuned in a way that will screw you over. What?
What? Bot? What? In single player? Are we talking about single player or multiplayer here?
I think all of the reviews are going to be for multiplayer.
Okay.
Seems like people.
My understanding is that the single player is actually good. So.
Yeah, but I think all of the people who nominated this either heard of or played the multiplayer, and are just happy that it's on Steam now. So. Anyway, let's go on to Steam replays. So, do you want me to send you the link to?
Oh yeah. I'll
send you the link so you can have a look at it on your screen as well.
I assume. Wait, is this link? What have you linked to? What? Oh, that's just like your one. Okay.
Can you click on that and have a look at it? Is that working for you?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay.
Yep.
So this is my Steam replay. As I alluded to earlier, I really like things that help you keep a track of all the games you've been playing that year. I use a website called Mediapedia personally. This helps me keep track of all the games I've played this year, whether they be on Steam or not. So I can quickly go through a bunch of games I've been playing this year. Let's go to 2022. I've been playing games like Stacking, Superliminal, Wall of Juarez, At the Outer Wilds, Cuphead.
Do you have some manly ads, like, say you've played it? Like?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hades, Signalis, which you wouldn't know I'd played on Steam because I played it on the Humble Bundle store.
Oh, right.
So this is only going to track games you play on Steam, but I'd say majority of the games I played this year were on Steam, and they will be more so in the future given that I have a Steam Deck. But let's go through it quickly, because I think it's going to be really interesting to see mine next to yours, because I play a lot of games, and you play a lot of a very few games.
I don't know. I would say now, 2022, I played the least amount of games than any other year, like in terms of like total time.
So, do you know my most played game of this year?
I do now.
The Witcher 3: The Wild Hunt. And I don't even like that game that much, which I found the craziest thing. I'm not even the biggest Witcher fan.
Yeah.
I think that game has
played it for a long time though.
It just is a long game. That's the thing.
35 sessions played.
The thing with the stats is it can tell you how much you played a game, but not how much you enjoyed playing that game.
Yeah.
Like for example, here 4% of my playtime on Steam was Star Realms, and I really did enjoy playing that. And I launched it loads of times because I kept like playing.
Well, you got a nice number
friends.
as well.
69, nice. But I had 126 games played this year. 92 of them were new games. So almost like, what is that, 80% of the games I played were new games.
Yeah.
I played 104 demos this year. And I feel like that was a light demo year for me. I usually play like 30 games a demo festival at least, so... When I do those Tangerine compilations of demos I've been playing, I'm really playing a lot of demos to try and find some good shit. And I think it is worth it when I find games like Dome Keeper is a big game that came out this year where I was like, I would not have known about this game at all if it wasn't for the Steam Demo Fest.
Absolutely.
So I got 971 achievements unlocked from 73 games, 166 rare achievements. I played 4% of my playtime on Steam was on Raft. I played a lot of Raft this year, as I alluded to earlier. 71% of my playtime was on a keyboard and mouse. And
mine doesn't have that. Mine has a different stat, though.
Mine has 25% with controller, and I'll
switch
over
to mine
to yours.
Look what mine's there instead.
So my biggest playtime of all was 6%. And then your biggest playtime is 45%. So that's already a massive difference between our two play styles. Because you played 11 games this year, and 4 of them were new.
That, I'm going to be honest, the fact that I played 4 new games, that surprised me. I thought I played 0 new games.
So City Skylines 45% for 24 play sessions. Stellaris 36% for 28 sessions.
Yeah.
You got 26 achievements unlocked. Your longest streak
I haven't got. It doesn't say how many a keyboard and mouse percentage.
I think because you've never plugged in a controller and used it this year. When did you do that?
There's 2 games where you scroll down that I was testing out with.
I think I use a controller a lot more as a percentage. Maybe that's why.
Maybe just like 99.9% keyboard and mouse wasn't an interesting.
But here's a new game you played this year: V Rising. You played it for 10%.
I forgot they came out this year, I'm going to be honest.
Due to your percentages, you played V Rising more than I played any game on Steam. How many hours is that?
No. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, that's percentage of like total playtime. I have not played that many hours on like this year at all.
How many hours do you have in V Rising?
I'll just bring that up. Hang on. I don't think it's very long. 18 hours.
Okay, because I played The Witcher 3 for like 50, 60 hours. But that's like a 6% of my playtime.
Yeah. I did not. I guess one games I did play a lot initially last year was Minecraft.
Yeah.
And again in summer as well, I was kind of doing a similar thing.
Well, for me as well.
Even then, I've not played that much.
But for me as well, I've played probably 100 hours of Overwatch 2 this year, which is not going to be told to you. I've been playing Hearthstone Battlegrounds a lot this year, which is not going to be able to told you on the Steam test. But let's compare the stats. So the average achievement unlocks for this year was 21. I unlocked 971. You unlocked 26, so you were still above the average, but not quite as many as me. I played 126. Apparently the average is 5. You got 11, which again, you're above the average. Your longest streak was 6 days. Is this because you're always appearing offline?
What does it mean by longest streak? Is that games played every day?
I think it's playing at least one game a day.
No, because I'm invisible. I'm not offline. That will still count. Again, I've not played that many.
So my longest streak was 45 days, which the average
you played
was
a game. every day.
Every day for 45 days.
Yeah. Again, that just goes to show like how little games I played. I don't know. I don't know what happened. I normally play a lot more games.
So this is a really interesting stat between us two. So 18% of the games you played were new releases. 17% is the average. 53% of the games I played were games that were released that year, which is kind of interesting. Because I'm usually someone who waits for sales, but 50% of the games I played last year came out that year, which is really interesting to see.
My recent favorite.
The percentage of the games that you played that were released in the last 1 to 7 years.
What?
Yeah, that is a weird stat.
Apparently, what does that mean? How's that separate from classic? I don't understand what that means.
So you got an 82% on this, with the average being 64. I got a 38%, given that I usually play games that... I don't tend to play the same game. I tend to play new games. Whereas you had a 0% on the eight more years for classics. I had a 9%, because I've been playing stuff like Doom and Thief, The Dark Project.
Yeah.
This is what I wanted to look at, was the diagram. So you are a city builder space survival main.
Yeah.
And I am a action roguelite deck building main. Based sense. On my... Which I've got... So I'll obviously these are little categories. You have a dash of tactical RPG, grand strategy, fighting in there. And I have a dash of... I love that I have this. Mini golf... Pirates, beautiful, and typing. I don't know. Is it because I played Typing of the Dead?
Yeah.
Is that it? Is that the whole thing?
You played it for a while.
So I subscribed to 67 items in the workshop. You subscribed to 2,253.
You didn't even think you could subscribe to that many things.
I commented on 7 discussion posts. You commented on 4. Oh no, you didn't comment on any. You have a different stat.
I don't even have it.
Badges earned, I got 5. You got 4.
Yeah. What's the games?
Games gifted, I had 3. You had 3. Community awards given 1. You had none. You added a new friend and you shared a screenshot.
Wow. Never been done before.
So yeah. I had
Oh yeah, I like the if you keep no, I quite like the by month breakdown of all games.
Yes, I really like that as well. You'll be able to see my Quake month. But 50% of my total playtime The Witcher 3 was in September, and then 50% was in October. Star Realms, I played all over the year, so I played a bunch at the start of the year, and then I played a little bit at the end of the year. Raft, I played the entirety in the month of July. Hades, I played entirety in December, because I just fucking binged that game. I love it so much. Deathloop, I played right at the start of the year, because I was complaining that I really wanted to play Deathloop in 2021, but I missed it, and I played it in the start of 2022, and it was a very good game. But you can have a look at my break. So January I was playing Deathloop, then I was playing more Star Realms, then I played Mad Max a bunch in March. I played a bunch of different games in April and May. I played a ton of The Outer Worlds in June because I didn't have internet, and my stats for The Outer Worlds would be even bigger. I think The Outer Worlds might be one of my most played games. If Steam tracked your play hours in offline mode, it does not. Yeah, and I was playing The Outer Worlds when I had no internet, so I played a bunch of The Outer Worlds, and it might have been my most played game of the year if it wasn't for the fact that Steam offline mode does not track your playtime.
Oh, sorry.
But you can see August was the month of Quake. I played a lot of fucking Quake. Witcher 3, bunch of games.
You just went to see my graphs, though. It's hilarious.
So mine was, I played 96% of my playtime last year was on Windows, and then 4% was in VR. And then 210 of the games were on Windows and 28 were in virtual reality. And let's have a look at yours. City Skylines, August, October, November.
Yep.
Achievements hidden by personal preferences. Click to see. What does this mean?
I think those are achievements I got.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Stellaris, February, May, June, October, December. V Rising. V Rising was your 1 month game where you just played it for
I
1
couldn't.
month.
The person I played it with stopped playing it.
It was
They disappeared.
It was White Boy Summer on V Rising. You love to say it.
Yeah, and then they got married. Those fuckers.
Divinity Original Sin 2 Definitive Edition.
Again, same story, but before.
Monster Hunter Rise, July and June, and then fell off.
It was fallen off before. I'm surprised at that high, to be honest with you.
Well, apparently, you played a game, Fight Angel Special Edition, with a very sus-looking thumbnail. What? Can you tell me what?
It's more sus in game, I can assure you.
Okay. I asked you before the game if you were okay me going through your stats live on the podcast, so there should be no surprises here.
Yeah, there's only two. The other one is, I don't know if you can see it. I think it's in September. There is. Really I played Soul Calibur Dead or Alive, which I couldn't get into. I accidentally.
Here's a question for you. Do you like fighting games?
Yeah. I like Soul Calibur a lot.
Yeah.
But I'm not good at fighting games, so I don't play that often.
Okay.
I just find I don't find the way they teach you like what you're supposed to do. Like I just can't get around my head. But look, what did I play in April?
Nothing.
Yeah.
Wow, look, nothing.
January? What's in January? I
don't know. Let's have a look. Grid view by month. So in January you played Rising Hell. February you played Stellaris. March played Divinity Original Sin. May Stellaris. June Stellaris, Rising Hell, Monster Hunter. To July. August City Skylines. September you played some Raji. Based.
Did not get very far into it, but it was having fun.
Last round, Cope Fighters? I don't know what that is. Oh, Dead or Alive.
Yeah. Dead or Alive 6, isn't it?
And then you went back to modding Skyrim again in November.
That's what I've been doing since November, yeah. You know what? I've been having fun modding Skyrim again.
So yours ends there. Mine's actually a bit longer because I have I have an entire section on VR games.
Oh really? Oh
yeah, because it breaks it down by platform. So if you played on Steam Deck, they would go, "Here's what you played on Steam Deck," and if you play in VR, it goes, "Here's what you played in VR." So my most played VR game last year is going to be no fucking surprise to anyone who watches the live streams this year. But 32% of my VR last year was in Gorilla Tag. I absolutely adore that game. This is going to be no surprise to you at all. 14% was in Half-Life Alyx playing workshop mods. Surprise one for me was 11 Table Tennis is so fucking fun. Holy shit, was that a big surprise to me? I was like, it's just table tennis in VR. It's so much more fun than it sounds.
Yeah, but what do you mean? Do you not like table tennis in real life?
I do, but it just sounds... If I said to you, Tony, I was like, there's a new game coming out, and you were like, "Oh, what is it?" I was like, "It's basketball. You just play basketball."
I would love basketball in VR.
No, outside of VR. Let's just say I was like, "It's basketball." You'd be like, "Oh, it's just basketball. That's it." And
well, that's kind of bad. I like basketball, but okay, let's pretend it's a different sport. Yeah,
it's just tennis.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, that's probably more. That's more. Okay, it's just tennis.
But it's really fucking fun. I
don't know. I don't know. I feel like a lot of sports games, especially in like VR, we have to like do something.
I don't know. I got it.
Better.
I started playing online against random people. I had loads of fun. I was fucking awful. Everyone was complaining that I was awful, and I'm like, I don't play real table tennis. But professional table tennis players legitimately play this table tennis game to practice.
Yeah, that's weird.
And I also played tons of games against my friend Luke, who also has a Quest 2. So we were just playing table tennis, and we got so into it. We were like fucking just sweating because we were playing in like fucking July or something. So it was just like we were sweating playing table tennis in VR. I actually played, I think, almost all of Star Trek Bridge Crew last year. Really, really fun experience. Big fan of Bridge Crew. I think it's one of the best Star Trek VR games. I think it's the only Star Trek VR game.
Shame you can't get it.
Yeah. And then Among Us VR, 7%. Yeah. So I got another section here. So 25% of my playtime with a controller. So the games I spent the most time playing with a controller were Mad Max, 10%, Cuphead, 9%, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, 8%, Assassin's Creed Black Flag, 8%, and Demon Turf, 7%. So those are all big, like, controller games. So my favourite ones out of those would have to be Ori and Cuphead. I love Cuphead, I think. But I've got this, like, for my daily streak thing, I've got, like, an entire section that just shows, like, every single game I was playing, and it's just, like, crazy how many games I just kept new game, new game, new game, new day, new game, new game. Like, a lot of them are, like, missing their fucking,
What?
Yeah, a lot of them have no images because they were, like, demos? I think these are demos, and they've just been incorrectly picked up as games. Yeah, a lot of these are just demos, but they don't have, like, art because they're demos, so...
They no longer exist.
But yeah. I was gaming.
So does your month break down insane?
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah, okay. You're like a billboard of games.
Yeah, I like to play lots of games. I like to play new games as well, test things out. And the thing is, most of these games that I played, I finished to completion. So, of the ones that could be completed.
Yeah.
But
I keep playing games that you can't complete, and then I give up on games you can complete.
There it is. But yeah, I love this sort of data, and I think it's really, really cool. Yeah. I'm really, really glad we have this, and I'm excited to see what games I'm going to be playing next year in 2023.
It's super interesting. It's very interesting. Oh, what happened in December?
Christmas. I went on holiday.
And Hades.
Played Chivalry 2.
And Paul RTX. But like Hades took up majority of December.
Yeah, I did. I played a lot. I love that game. Yeah, I think that's really cool, and I hope they do it again next year.
Yeah, can only hope.
Let's move on to GOG news. So GOG 2020 Update 6 Open Critic reviews are now on game cards. So you'll be able to look at Open Critic reviews for games on GOG. This is the second game store to add this. I believe it was added to Epic Games as well.
Yeah, that's definitely been working. I've actually been using it.
So it seems like... yeah, it's a pretty good system. It's better than nothing. I don't think it's as good as Steam reviews, but it's still a fairly decent system to have. And
it's okay, yeah.
GOG Connect has officially gone offline. If you don't remember what it was, essentially, GOG Connect was the ability for participating games. They could go, if you had a Steam key for a game, GOG was partnering up with them to offer you a duplicate DRM-free version of a game you already owned.
Oh, yeah.
And I used it for a couple of games, and then I completely forgot it existed, and it seems like everybody else did. Because due to inactivity, it seems like they're just choosing to no longer support it because nobody is using it.
It was really advertised, to be fair.
It was very restrictive as well. There was very few games that actually allowed you to add it to your GOG library.
Yeah.
And it had to be added within a very strict time frame for contractual reasons. Yeah, it's been unofficially dead, but it is now officially dead. So.
Right. You have to buy another key if you want the non-DRM version.
Or you could just buy the non-DRM version in the first place, but...
Yep.
DRM's kind of good if you've got a Steam Deck. Blunders. Chocobo GP is ending support after less than a year. This was the Chocobo Racing Mario Kart game that I think was a Switch exclusive. Apparently, they solved some of the most egregious issues with it at launch. But by that point, everyone had already dismissed it as a pay-to-win mobile shovelware.
You can't. You can't launch with that.
Some of the changes they made was free players were allowed to participate in online matches, which apparently wasn't allowed in the beginning. Gil, which I guess is a currency, not being pointlessly wiped at the end of every season. Premium passes, microtransaction, level up skips, etc. being removed. Stickers moved to being an in-game reward. FOMO stuff added to the shop will now persist through the new season and not be taken down. And there was a whole lot more. It was basically a complete reversal of the game's entire launch monetization and predatory reward philosophy. But if they fucking launched with that, maybe they wouldn't be shutting it down. So there will be no further large-scale updates to the game after Season 5 update on Wednesday, December 21st, 2022. It will remain possible to play the Chocobo GP mode itself. Additionally, sales of Mithril on the eShop have been discontinued. So it seems like they're going to keep the lights on for now and just add no more updates or support to the game itself, which is kind of...
I'm going to assume by the end of the year it's going to be gone.
Yeah, probably. Next up we have, the UK government. Netflix password sharing is illegal and potentially criminal fraud. The UK Government Intellectual Property Office published a new piracy guidance today that contains a small, easily missed detail. People who share their Netflix, Amazon Prime, or Disney Plus passwords are violators of copyright law, and it gets worse.
Can I just say...
The IPO informs Sovereignty that password sharing could also mean criminal liability for fraud. Go on.
I may be admitting a criminal offence. It's not a criminal offence, but it's still a crime that I've done. I might be committing fraud here. I might be admitting to fraud.
Yeah.
I have been sharing an account outside of the household. How the fuck is a multi-account thing in Netflix supposed to actually work? I just think this whole bollocks of you only to share it with in your immediate house is utter bollocks. If you're going to sell a multi-person pack, surely the cost of it being multi-person compared to single is already more money. Why are you limiting it? I think that's complete bullshit. I think I'm going to ignore this bollocks, and I think everyone should ignore this bollocks. And I think...
I mean...
at your own risk. This isn't legal advice. I'm going to ignore it, though.
All I'm going to say is I use my dad's Netflix, my brother's Disney Plus, and I've...
As far as I'm aware, Joe, almost everyone I know shares.
Everyone I know is either sharing their account or using an account shared from somebody else. Like, it is so commonplace to share streaming accounts. It's insane.
Maybe this isn't what happened, but I'm going to assume lobbyists pushed this to be in this outline.
You remember when everybody used to record the radio and then they were like, this was destroying the music business?
To the lobbyists that pushed this, assuming that this happened, you're not going to get more money from everyone. You're not losing a part of the market. They were never going to do it. This is stupid. Stop it. You're wasting your lobbying money.
I mean, if Netflix and the government were like trying to crack down on password sharing, I think people would just unsubscribe.
Yes.
Essentially, the way Netflix are looking at it, we're going, we've got like 2 or 3 or 4 customers who all use Netflix and would be better off buying their own separate accounts. You're not going to get 4 customers by cracking down on this. You're going to lose the one customer who's paying for it, and everybody else will just move on with their lives.
Or even in the best case, like the Netflix, like you pay for I think you get 2 by default. You pay up to 3 to 4, and I think up to 6. I think all you're going to do in this case is you're going to have someone decrease what they're paying to the lesser one, and then the other person may or may not continue. Like you've lost money. Before it was worth just like ignoring it. Like a lot of these subscription services you get by just like you pay for it and forget about it. If you start cracking down on it, you're not going to get that anymore. You're going to lose money.
I don't know.
You guys are dumb.
I turn on Netflix. I watch Star Trek, and then I turn off Netflix.
Yeah. We're at a point now, as of this year, we're only going to be paying for Netflix months when we all decide that we're going to watch it, because we don't watch it all the time anymore. Just like we'll pay for it a month we decide to actually want to watch something.
But you're keeping Amazon Prime so we can watch Star Trek Picard season 3 coming out in I think February. Next month, we're so close.
I use Amazon a lot. I will keep it. That's open my personal one anyway, so... But it's still bollocks. It's still stupid, and it's still...
A lot of the reason
Stop cracking down on stupid stuff.
A lot of the reason all my family members share the Netflix account with my dad is he pays for the 4K version. And
I assume he
got 4K TVs.
I assume he pays for like lots of... I assume he pays for like 6 accounts.
No, I think he just used the default one.
Okay. Here's the thing, though. As far as I was aware, they still had a system of like, if you only had 2 accounts and someone logged in somewhere else, it would like kick the other person off. Like they already had a system in place that keep track of who was signed in on how many accounts. I don't understand the problem. Like, just provide a better service.
Just be better, right?
It reminds me of the piracy stuff, and it's
just, this is one where everyone agreed that was a bad decision.
Everyone hated
Wizards of the Coast has turned on the D&D fan base. They are now demanding the right to republish all their work without paying them, a cut of big Kickstarters for any D&D projects, and declaring the 20-year-old open gaming license null. So if you don't know, D&D basically has an open gaming license. They're like, hey, we just love D&D. Go crazy, create your own custom campaigns, use the books as a basis, make your own shit. This is cool.
So people they made lots of money from that.
People made their own custom campaigns. There's big shows. I think, for example, the most subscribed Twitch channel on Twitch is a D&D channel.
Well, like the podcasty, like I can't remember what it's called. Who's it called?
D&D with voice.
Yeah. So there's like everyone has their own.
Critical Role is the biggest, is the most subscribed to channel on Twitch. It is like D&D is very popular right now. Huge. And I think what's happened is Wizards of the Coast is going, we're not making enough money selling people Magic the Gathering cards. We need to get a cut of that D&D pie.
I saw I remember where this was, but like someone said this, like they were saying like someone said something, and then they pointed out like, oh, only 20 companies would be affected by the monetary side of it, and it's like, okay, so why are you doing this then? Like you're not going to get much money from this. Why are you doing this? Like I have a funny feeling that being able to control and repurpose other people's art and like ideas is what they're actually trying to do.
No.
And it's just slimy.
Yeah, I don't know. They're saying like people who educational, charitable campaigns, live streams, cosplays, etc. will be unaffected by the new open game license update.
Mm-hmm.
And content already released under the 1.0A will remain unaffected, but I don't know. This just seems slimy from the get-go.
Yeah. Even attempting to do this, what's the point?
I mean, Wizards has been a little bit sus ever since they tried to release that, shit Magic the Gathering, ARPG that got, literally closed before it even released out of beta.
Yep.
They've been trying to find new monetization paths, but it seems like they're going the Squeenix route, where they're just what's the worst way possible to make money while maintaining our relationship with our fan base? I know, let's try exploiting people.
What I'm going to say is that the Lizards of the Coast company is much
That's what they're called now. They're just called the Lizards of the Coast.
Yeah.
Those sneaky reptilians.
I saw on the WAN shows people alternative names for their knockoff D&D. I thought that was funny. Was it Lizards and Huts? That's my one.
Let's move on to tech news. Stadia will be releasing an update to manually enable Bluetooth and Stadia controllers. Your Stadia paperweight will no longer be just a paperweight. You will now be able to actually use your Stadia controller. From some of the people I've heard who have Stadia controllers, apparently it's a pretty decent controller.
The stuff I've heard says pretty shit, but okay.
Okay, well, this is anecdotal stuff that I've heard.
Well, I think it's subjective, isn't it? I think the fact that you like Xbox and I like PlayStation, I think it's very subjective.
Well, yeah. I think it looks fine. I mean, if people have Stadia controllers and want to use them, they should be able to use them.
Yeah, that for them. It's to me the principle of it. I think you could always use it plugged in. Just you couldn't use it wirelessly, right?
Yeah. So it's nice that they're still committed to this. The NVIDIA RTX 4090 mobile GPU looks seriously quick, 55% faster than the RTX 3080 Ti mobile, and apparently it's so fast it can match the NVIDIA RTX 3090 desktop GPU.
Really?
Yeah. One thing that kind of pisses me off is they're calling it the NVIDIA RTX 4090.
Yeah.
So they literally unlaunched a card that was called the 4080 12GB because they said it was confusing to have two cards too similarly named. And they're releasing this 4090 in laptops, and it's just going to be called a laptop with a 4090 when it is nowhere near the same kind of performance level as the actual desktop 4090.
I will say, is that it? Do you expect if you're buying? I'm not maybe not asking you per se, but if you're like trying to imagine like a lay person, do you think when they read that they go, "Oh, they squeeze the same GPU inside the laptop as you can buy"? Like,
I think some people genuinely would. Yeah.
Okay.
Especially the kind of person who's buying a laptop rather than building their own PC, they're much more likely to go, that's a 4090. I heard the 4090 was like the most powerful graphics card in the world, and I'm getting that on a laptop. Yeah. And they don't understand the differences between thermal limits and core counts and stuff like that.
There's an even worse side to this. They're using the 3080 die. What? That's not a 3090 die, that's a 3080. Oh, sorry, 4080. But they're not putting the 4090 die inside the laptop. It's an 80 series card.
It is cool to see that they actually have a mobile GPU that is just so fucking insanely popular. The
performance is great.
But it's just that the naming, again, is just kind of deceptive.
There should be a 48 mobile, is what it should be called. There's no 4090 mobile chip as of right now.
But they're turning a desktop 4080 into a laptop GPU. Essentially what they're doing. Just
what? In terms of the die?
Yeah.
Then obviously with all the other... The thing is, it's not just the die that makes a graphics card, is it? So the rest is from the motherboard.
And then another tech we have... introducing Project Leonardo for PlayStation 5. This is the accessibility controller for the PS5. So Xbox released the Xbox Adaptive Controller like a year or 2 years ago, and it was really fucking cool because accessibility has become more and more important in gaming. I mean, it's always been fucking important in gaming, but it's just been underserved and underutilized by developers and video game console creators. But now people have the ability to adapt controllers to their own personal disabilities and shortcomings in a way that still lets them enjoy the game. And I deeply, genuinely believe that video games are for everyone, and everyone should be able to experience video games. So having accessibility to get rid of these barriers is going to be really, really cool. And I'm 100% behind projects like Project Leonardo. So it's cool to see PlayStation actually stepping up to the plate and matching Xbox's initiative with the adaptive controller. That's really, really cool to see. For VR news, we have the Vive XR Elite is Vive's attempt at a standalone headset, it seems like. So it's going to be costing like a fucking $1,100, which is very expensive if you compare it to something like the Quest 2. Well, it's a standalone headset, so it's going to be 2K per eye, so 4K overall resolution, 90 Hz, 110 FOV. External camera. It's going to be mixed reality as well, so it's closer to like the mixed reality of the new Quest headset. It's powered by Snapdragon XR2 with 12 GB of RAM and 128 GB of onboard storage. It's about 3 times more powerful than the Meta Quest 2 on paper. So I'll be interested to see what kind of games it can run as a standalone.
Yeah, it'd be very interesting to see.
Apparently, it's also comfort focused, so it's trying to be as bulky, as little bulk as possible. And the battery life is about 15 hours with fast charging on 30 watts.
What? Really? That long?
Yep.
I'm curious to see what reviewers think, but that's insane.
And apparently you can buy a second battery to swap it out for longer VR sessions. If your VR sessions are going on for longer than the supposed 15 hours, either you're falling asleep inside VR chat, or you are going to die from dehydration and lack of food.
Maybe what they're assuming is that you got a more demanding, and it's that you got less.
Don't get
That's what I'm assuming.
Don't get me wrong. I understand there are degens who play VR chat and fall asleep in it. I get it.
Yeah.
But 100%. The average person is, as someone who's played Gorilla Tag playing Gorilla Tag for more than a couple of hours is one of the most exhausting things in the world. As someone who I would say is probably a lot more physically fit than I used to be, or maybe average to above average in physical fitness. So VR's quite tiring. I don't know if you're going to be wearing VR shit for 15 hours, let's say that. But let's see if their claims ring true when the headset actually releases.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pre-orders are live now, but it's going live on February 15th. So I'll be really interested to see how the Vive XR does. I don't think it's going to be a buy from me. I'm still waiting to see what Valve comes out with, if they come out with a standalone headset. But yeah, I think I'm just waiting on VR now. The last headset that I was interested in was the Quest 2, but at this point, I'm just waiting for the next thing after the Quest 2.
Yeah. I will say, I think I'm doing the same. I'm not a VR owner right now, but I'm waiting.
You're not a VR owner, but you always buy VR games and it pisses me off. You're like,
why does it piss you off?
Because you don't own It's like if I just started buying Xbox 360 games.
No,
and I didn't own an Xbox 360, and I'm like, I'll get a 360 down the line. I'll get them down the line.
No. It's like buying an Xbox 360 game, but in a couple of years, it's going to be twice the price. You're going to get an Xbox 360 eventually.
That's not how most games work. Usually, games get cheaper on sale.
True. I've been buying them on sale very cheaply.
Let's end the podcast there. We'll read a etymology tweet and we'll end it. Imagine an app that creates a game based on a text description. What would you type in first? And one of the first responses is just Milo. I still to this day would love to see Project Milo. I don't care if it was vaporware. I want to see Project Milo.
I want to see an actual developer make it.
No, I want to see 22 Cans make it after Skateboard Gun is finished.
Oh, right.
You can check us out and Everything In Between Podcast on YouTube. Type youtube.com/@everythinginbetweenpodcast if you want to get straight there. Twitch.tv/Scorn if you want to watch live. @Scorn2000 and shows.cast.com/everythinginbetweenpodcast, which will have links to the Spotify audio version, the Apple Podcast audio version, or you can listen to /download it from there for your preferred device. And we will see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.